summer. Okay? So these people wanted to, what is called, step into the shoes of the customer, understand what does it mean to be a motorist and not to be a car designer. So that's called the experiential layer. And then comes the existential layer, which is the highest layer where product thinking happens. At the existential layer, you are no longer wanting to creep into the shoe of the customer. You are step into the shoe of the customer. You are wanting to creep into the mind of the customer. So a great example of that is Sony. You know, Sony is Sony not because they understand ferrite magnet technology or they understand supply chain for 60,000 products. Sony is Sony because Sony designers understand what goes in the mind of the 13-year-old in, you know, baggy pants when that guy dons earphones and wiggles and wriggles what is going on in the mind. And Sony works backwards from there and comes out with a product or service. So product innovation happens when we creep into the mind, not work at that adaptive layer. Engineering is easy. You can go hire engineers. You can outsource engineering. When you want to be Sony or Nissan, either we have to step into the shoes of the customer or creep into the mind. But it goes back to my point, be in love with life. Don't be in love with technology. I don't know if I've answered at least in part your question, but thank you. Lovely question.
Very thoughtful of you.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you. You have to keep a tab on time because people have to have a drink and.
We probably have a couple of more questions. Joel has one question and Devendra has one more, and then we can, obviously he's here.
No, I'm not here. After this, I'm going to have a drink and I want to enjoy the evening.
Yeah, it was fantastic talk, and would like to share my story of scaling up. So we started company way back in 2000. My name is Devendra Deshmukh and I run a company named Easest. We are into product engineering solutions. So we ran a company for the first 10 years. We followed, rather I said we copied Infosys, Wipro's policies, and we were just following up with them. We found out that we were growing very slowly. Every year 10% growth, 20% growth. So then it came that 10-year point. In 2010, I read the book High Performance Entrepreneur. And it has completely changed my mindset. And we restructured the organization. We got rid of all policy manual. We focused on the culture, values, vision, without hiring any consultant. The books, like a club where we followed your thinking.
Thank you so much.
This has really helped us. Like from last 3 years, we're growing every year at the rate of 80% to 100%. And my question to you is that how to keep the scaling up mission without disturbing the culture, because we don't want to become, because as we are growing, people are saying that we need to become more process oriented, give more value to the process than people, and how to keep that culture intact, how to keep that spirit, how to keep that soul intact.
How old is your company?
Right now it's 350 people.
No, how old?
13 years.
13 years?
Yes.
Okay. So let me tell you something. I have a 15-year-old company and I'm struggling with this issue. And I'm telling my people that, you know, you can't be culture-led. You have to be expertise-led. You know, none of Jaideep and Gaurav's clients are looking for culture. They're looking for expertise. You look for culture if you're doing a tiny deal. If you're doing a mega deal, you want to get a guy who in the first 5 minutes will look like someone who will not say, you know, I have to figure it out with a lawyer to take legal opinion on depreciation or talk to a banker on whether funding or lease or whatever it is, money raising is possible, not possible. You know, you want to talk to a guy who within the first 5 minutes comes across as expertise-led and culture-backed. We can't be culture-led and expertise-backed. Big deals, the elephantine deals, you can catch rabbits with culture, but you don't want to ever try to catch an elephant with culture. It can be a life-threatening exercise. So in the first 5 years of a company, being culture-led is very important. People come and say, oh, they are nice guys, so maybe I should give them my business. But if somebody is doing a $50 million, $20 million deal, it's life-threatening for that guy. It can change his own career prospect or her own career prospect in the company. So you want to understand very clearly that culture must change. And we as leaders must periodically ask ourselves, what part of that early culture we want to take into our future and what needs to be left behind. You know, when you send a rocket up, you'll find that at different stages of the rocket's journey, its outer shell falls off. Not just burns, but falls off. Because beyond that, it becomes dead weight. So culture is something like that. More than culture, you want to retain your values. But even values, I can tell you from my own experience, after raising the company strongly on values for the first 12 years, we figured out that 50% of our company is people who are less than 30 years old, which means 15 years back they're 15 years old. What the hell do they care about, our values? The values have to be relevant to them. So we dumped the original values with which it built the company and went back and articulated values that are valid for the 15-year-old of today. And what worries me is Mindtree of 2020, because the 22-year-old coming in Mindtree of 2020 is 14 years old today. They think we are really dead guys who are overstaying welcome. So culture is important, but more important is values, and even culture comes with a price tag. And culture can actually, culture can make you very internally focused. It feels good. The same customers, they do what is, you do and they do what is called TLC, which is tender loving care. Okay? So you meet the customer gives you tea, has a drink, attends your child's marriage, you go and send flowers to the customer on the customer's birthday, but the $5 million business becomes $5.5 million business. It's not the customer's job to make it $50 million. It's the customer's job is to build his or her business to $50 million. So it's very important for us to look for customers who are very different from our current customers. And those guys are not impressed with your culture. They want to come for expertise, but stay for culture. Don't be front-ended with culture. In the first 2 minutes of the conversation, come across as a guy, if you're a brain surgeon, okay, you want to get a tumor removed, you want culture or you want expertise? Great question, thank you so much.
Hi Subroto, this is Vishwas Mahajan, and by way of introduction, I
The founder of Thai.
Thai, yes, we run Thai, but I'm also a software entrepreneur, software product entrepreneur, exited 3 years back, and I'm into multiple smaller startups and help startup ecosystem. Actually, I was kind of listening to you on your different rules, and the first rule that you mentioned, which is being comfortable with the idea of scale in your own mind, and the third one that you mentioned about scaling your intellect. I was actually having difficulty in differentiating between the two. So, I thought they were pretty overlapping kind of rules. So maybe you want to just dive into it a little bit.
Lovely, very nice question. There's a guy called Dr. Venkatappa Govindaswamy. Many of you wouldn't have heard about him. This man grew up in heartland of Tamil Nadu, and he grew up in a hamlet where early morning he would wake up, mother would say, take the buffalo to graze. You take the buffalo, the single buffalo of the house to graze, come back, go to school, no blackboards. The teacher would make them to level sand and write the Tamil alphabet on that. So that's Venkatappa Govindaswamy for you. 8-year-old boy when he was, heard a loud cry from next door. Turns out that a woman, young woman, 24, 25, has died giving birth to a child. So in that moment, that 8-year-old says, I have to be a doctor. And doctor he became. But after he became a doctor, joined the army as a gynecologist, he contracted a rare form of rheumatoid arthritis, which completely twisted his fingers like this, and his toes as well. So army discharged him. He retrained himself to be an ophthalmologist and retrained his twisted fingers to hold the surgical instruments and sometimes modified the instruments so that he can operate. Carried on till the age of 58 and retired, but he said, no, India is the blindness capital of the world, comfort with scale. He said that the maximum number of blind people are in India, and he said that much of the blindness is needless blindness. People become blind because they don't have information or access to ophthalmic care. So he said it's a huge opportunity. It's a great opportunity to be an Indian, to be an eye doctor, okay, with so much of blindness and needless blindness for that matter. So what this guy do, he had never traveled abroad at that time. His role model was McDonald's. Can you believe it? He says McDonald's is a great company because they know how to manage scale. What they have done with scale by making 1 billion burgers is they have driven pricing down. And they understand how to maintain a standard of quality, same quality, whatever that quality is. And there would be activists here who will say McDonald's stands for obesity, but doesn't matter. It tastes as bad in Tokyo or in New York. It takes a lot to keep that badness standard. Okay? So he said, how does this company make 1 billion burgers? And if 1 billion burgers can be made without compromising quality and by maintaining price, why can't I drive using the power of volume, which is scale, why can't I drive pricing down? Those of you who have a parent, uncle, aunt who has gone through cataract surgery would know that you have to put an intraocular lens after that. That lens at that time used to cost upward of $100. And by driving volume, what Dr. Venkatappa Govindaswamy did after retirement is he reduced the price to $5 and exported intraocular lens back to the developed countries. But more significantly, he founded Arvind Eye Hospital, which became the platform. And Arvind Eye Hospital started with a 13-bed hospital using his own house, and today is the largest eye hospital in the world. Scared of doctors who don't speak the language. So he went and he hired young girls from Heartland, Tamil Nadu. Qualification should not be able to speak English. And trained them because they speak the patient's language. And suddenly, scarcity of trained nurses was no longer a problem. Then he found that people didn't come to his hospitals. Because in rural India, a blind person is called a mouth with no hands and legs. So it only keeps eating. So the person who is blind or about to become blind will not come to the hospital because A, doesn't speak the language, B, would need to be escorted by somebody. And that somebody, if comes to 7 days, loses the wage. So what did he do? Because he's comfortable with the idea of scale, he says patient doesn't have to come to the hospital, hospital will go to the patient. So put this Tamil-speaking nurse in a bus, the bus goes to the village, and all of you have gone through eye test, right? What's the big deal? That chart can be fixed to a tree, and either you can read it or you can't read it. If you can't read it, you got a problem. So the nurses started screening these people, and those who needed further attention were put back in the bus so they don't have to be escorted. The bus came, they were operated upon if they needed that, and the bus took them back to their village. That's how Arvind became the largest eye hospital in the world. to begin with, the man was not scared about scale. I think the night is inviting, and I don't want to hold you up. Thank you very much again.
Questions over here, and I wish that I could go on forever, but I guess we have to call it here.
He's telling me to shut up. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I won't take long. This first slide is basically about what we've been doing over the last 3 years, and some of the key verticals that we actually have today. So I won't elaborate too much on this. I'd rather focus on some of the important announcements that we have to make. I'm sure all of you are hungry, and we've already overshot on time. So I'll go straight to the future. What you can actually, as clients and business partners and well-wishers, family, all of you can expect from us in this year, basically, is there's a very strong urge to get into research and analytics. And this is not exactly secondary research, this is primary research, which a lot of the property consultancy firms pride themselves on. But there again, a lot of it is paid research, a lot of them is, and we want to focus on some of the areas that are not covered by them. And where again, we have the expertise to actually advise clients. So you can expect reports on second generation offices, which basically means plug and play offices. What is the stock? Because there's a huge shift in trend for clients to actually lease out more and more plug and play offices, which are second generation, which means landlords and developers who are not too keen on investing in fresh interiors are actually, so that's basically one of the reports we might be generating. Small office supply, demand balance. All of the reports that are currently available focus predominantly on large IT parks, rather than focusing on the startup entrepreneur who actually needs maybe 600, 700 square foot. This will obviously be a humongous exercise and will take us time, but we'll get there. We'll also be sharing a lot more insights, and we'll be engaging a lot more with all our business partners regarding transaction management, how things have changed in transactions, what landlords expect, what do clients expect, what do facility managers expect. A lot has changed in the last 7, 8 years. And after 2009, really a lot has changed. So it's actually more like an interactive session, and all of you can expect us to engage with you actively over the coming months. And of course, we'll be a lot more market intelligence savvy. We'll keep sharing with you what's happening in the market, so you can expect periodic updates as that as well. The next important announcement is about new market creation, and we are doing very active research on setting up a Bangalore office for transaction management in commercial real estate, which will eventually grow to other verticals as well as the firm evolves and grows. So we've also made a significant step to pitch ourselves in the international market with the help of one of our newest business partners, KMC Mag Group in Philippines. So you can expect information, data, statistics, whatever you require on the Philippines market, we can provide it to you. Better database management means migrating to a better platform than what we use currently. So we would definitely be a lot more, we'd be a lot quicker and a lot more accurate in providing data to you when it comes to property listings. Faster and more accurate information as a result. And last but not least, we had started something very, it was just a one-shot attempt that we did in 2011, which was called Legion Lunches. So in that particular, and some of them are here, I think almost all of them are here. So what we did in that was invite an expertise in a particular subject. It could be taxation, it could be special economic zones, it could be facility management, and get a very select group of 5 or 6 people to actually discuss it over lunch. So it's a bit like a brain-picking exercise, but not so explicit. So, and we have had significant encouragement from industry experts who are willing to come and do this. So these are just some of the initiatives we're going to take over the next 12 months. And all you miracle makers, you need to support us in this as well. And I'm sure we have a lot to promise and even more to deliver, right? So with that, I'm calling it a night over here as far as this presentation is concerned. So thank you all once again for being here. There's just one more thing I want to announce before you all raise your hands and clap for me. None of all of this, we've spoken about the Legion team over here, we've spoken about how we've crossed 3 years. But there's a particular individual I want to really thank, who is actually not part of the team anymore, but in spirit and in soul and in support, he's always with us. And he, to a very large extent, has helped us build and come to where we are. And I have absolutely no hesitation in giving him a lot of credit for standing up to where we are right now. He is amidst us today. His name is Vikash Kriplani. Vikash, can you raise your hand, please? So it's just he's been as essential a part of our success story, and he's pursuing another career. So I just wanted to thank him as that. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being part of this. Please enjoy your dinner, and thank you for being here.